come up with a way to totally eradicate this whole idea of rejection in sales. If it's over at hello, how the heck are you going to succeed in selling? You've got to rise above that and change your mindset.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Stump The Guru Show. Hope you're doing well. We are back again for another month of live without a net coaching and questions about sales from a different perspective. My name is Ari Galper, specialized in trust-based selling for the last 25 years. Can't believe I'm actually saying that word. It's been a long time, but still standing and been standing true to our principles of no chasing, no follow-up, no closing techniques, and not having to give away the farm, sell your soul, having to chase ghosts. Those are all the nightmares that people get stuck in when they're experts and they're knowledgeable and they feel their obligation is to deliver value up front, which is a mistake. And so we have a whole different way of thinking. It's very contrarian. I will warn you in advance, all of our concepts are the opposite of what you think you should be doing. Yet it's so simplified, so easy, no stress, no pressure. And the core of it is based upon building trust with people. And that's the whole sense of our philosophy and our approach. So this show really is a chance for people to jump on live, ask me a question unrehearsed that they have that they might be stuck in a sales scenario. They're chasing someone. They have a big opportunity that's pending. They can't move forward. And I'll provide some live coaching, some insights, advice, languaging. There are folks from all over the world who listen to this podcast every month. I get the numbers, a lot of people. And they write down their notes, they listen carefully, and they apply what they're hearing today, and the results speak for themselves. And so if you're listening right now and you're not here live, but you want to get my new book just came out called Trust in a Split Second. You can grab a copy at unlockthegame.com or my name, arigalper.com. There's an opportunity there to get a copy mailed to you for free, along with a consultation to discuss your situation, unpack your funnel, identify the holes, and see if there's some insights we can help you with along the way also. So grab a copy there. There's some new insights that might help you in there. I've got 5 other books as well on the website you can get if you'd like to beyond that. Look, this is a chance to really go deep on your scenarios. But I want to kind of start with a theme today around the concept of relationship building pre-sale. And for years, we've all grown up in the know, like, and trust model, where we've been taught that our job is to build a relationship first with people. And a lot of sales trainers still teach the idea of taking personality tests and assessments to identify your personality, see if you matched the person you're talking to know what your quote type is. And then once you know what your type is, you're going to adapt your type to the person you're talking to. It just feels very complicated. The whole idea is for them to get to like and know you. And what we discovered is, and this is really a deep truth, that real relationships take time to build, take a long time to build. And the best time to build a relationship with someone is after they're a client, not before they're a client. So if you're attempting to try and build a relationship with someone and then get to know and like you in advance of the sales process, they can view that as contrived. They can view it as you having a hidden agenda. Because the irony of all this is they really aren't looking for a new friend, looking to solve a problem. So our approach advocates eliminating relationship building, but still building trust with bedside manner, like a doctor, and warmth and empathy, and not fact-finding, but asking trust-based questions. And you'll find that people will hire you not because they want to become your friend or get to know you better. They are going to hire you because they can trust you to solve their problem. And once you relieve yourself of that obligation to having to lay in the relationship part and focus on the problem part instead, it's a massive shift in how fast they trust you and hire you. So think about that next time you're with someone and let us know your feedback. All right, we'll get this going. Our clock is ticking, and we'll call on Steve to bring in our first guest who's in the waiting room to ask me a question.
All righty, here we are. Let me make this big for everybody. There we go. Happy spring, everybody. Spring is sprung, so it's the official week of spring. We're going to bring on Baltimore's very own Norris Brodsky first today. I wish I had an applause for Norris today. What's up, Norris? How you doing? If you can let Ari and everybody know a little bit about you, of course, your question.
Yes, Norris Brodsky, Senior Financial Advisor. Been in the business of helping people for 27 years, and finding Ari a year or two ago has just been phenomenal, inspirational, frankly, and career changing. So make sure you can get your head out of the door when this is over, Ari. But I've got one to stump you, okay?
Bring it on.
All right. I've had a client for over 10 years, and she's been a good client, but she has a little bit of a mind of her own, and she just retired, and she has about 25% of her portfolio in her retirement plan. So in so many words, I said to her today in a meeting, so when are we moving that over so that we can incorporate it in your plan? And she said, I don't think I'm moving it over. I'm going to give it to somebody else.
Okay.
And Ari says,
well, let's go backwards for a second, not forwards. The question is, what triggered her to not be open to moving it to you? Why did she react like that? And what I'm picking up in your languaging when you said to her, why don't we move things over here to map to your plan, right?
no, to be specific.
Yeah.
She's had this with another, it's part of her retirement plan.
Sure.
And she called me and said, I think I'm ready to move that money over.
Okay.
So when we were meeting today, I didn't say it like that. I said, well, I said, Tammy, how would you like to proceed from here with that money?
Oh, I see. So let me get this right. She calls you and says, hi, I want to move some money over. You say, great. When do you want to move it over?
No, I said, great, let's get together.
Let's get together.
Let's review your plan.
Got it.
And we'll go from there.
And then you got together with her?
Today we had our meeting. We went through the plan.
And then you said what?
We talked about several strategies
for
her to implement going forward.
Sure.
And then I said, you told me about these funds. Where would you where would you like to go from here?
Got it. Now, why do you suppose she says to you initially, I'm ready to move my funds, and then your meeting, she says to you, I don't want to do it? What happened in between, you think? Why did she change her mind all of a sudden?
Great question. I said to her,
yeah, go ahead.
She said, well, she'd like to diversify her advice.
That's so interesting, because she says to you, I'm ready to move my money. She says to you, I'm one to diversify. She has a meeting with you. You lay the plan out. You do everything you're supposed to do. And at the end, the complete opposite of what she said from the beginning. Now, I have to beg the question, what happened to cause her to go through all that at the end, do nothing? I mean, that's a real question to ask ourselves. I wasn't there, so I don't know, but it begs the question. See, here's what I would see. That's because the goal is the truth, not the sale. The goal is to figure out what happened. What did you do on your end that may have triggered her to change her mind?
She said it's
Now
nothing you do. She said, Norris, it's not you. It's nothing personal.
So what is it?
I want to diversify my advice.
Advice? Diversify? What does that even mean?
That means, well, maybe I'll get some different recommendations that maybe
Right.
could be better than
I
what
know.
you're recommending.
So
And
what I'm
so,
trying.
let me tell you what I did. I said, you know, in the very best terms, I'm a fiduciary. And I have to do what's in your best interest.
I understand you're trying to show her that you're solid. I get that. But what I'm trying to get at is this, Norris.
I said, do you trust me? She said,
No,
absolutely.
Okay, hold on. But she's not telling you the truth. There is something going on under the surface that made her flip from I'm in, let's do this, to I'm not in. Something is going on there, no matter how honest and truthful you are and legitimate you are. So what I would probably say to her in that scenario, I'd say, I'm just curious. What has changed for you from the moment you gave me a call to suggest you want to consolidate your funds here under your plan we talked about to where we are right now? If you wouldn't mind to share with me a little bit about your thoughts are about that, it'd be great. I want to understand what caused her to shut down with you and get skeptical and go elsewhere to diversify, because diversify means she felt risk by putting it all with you.
Yeah.
So I want to know what is underneath that thing. So the only thing you can do right now is this with her. Give it a few days. Give her a call back and use the apology approach. Say, hey, how are you doing? Hope you're well. Like, I just want to give you a call. And I want to apologize to you. You know, I was under the impression when you gave me a call that you wanted to consolidate and move things forward. And I thought I did the right thing by walking the plan on how to do that. And I'm perfectly okay to change your mind, but I'm just curious. Well, listen, feedback from you. What did I do on my end that made you feel uncomfortable moving from your initial request? If you wouldn't mind.
Okay.
And
it's too late. I sent her an email about an hour or two ago. I thanked her for coming in. I reviewed what we did. We talked about future steps. And then I said, however, we really can't go forward until we resolve this issue, because I can't accept a portfolio with multiple advisors.
yeah, I know. You're closing her down. I get it, but you got to change your approach, Norris, to give it some space to breathe a bit. And then allow you to re-engage her, not in an email, but with a humble conversation, following your sword and say, hey, maybe it was me. Maybe something on my end made you feel uncomfortable. And I'm just curious.
No, you didn't make me feel uncomfortable.
What changed? So what, no problem. What changed from your initial call to me to the end of our process? I would love to know what your thoughts are on that made you feel like you need to change. What would that be? Lower your voice. Don't be defensive. Be soft in your tone. Give her permission to tell you the truth of what made her change her mind. Something triggered her to change her mind from her initial request to you to the end. Only thing between that.
I thought about it, and I don't want all my money with one advisor.
Right. So I'm just curious, how come your initial request was to put everything into one advisor with me?
Well,
what changed?
And I've decided I don't want to have it all.
And what is it that triggered that decision? What changed from? Okay, we can go. I'm just telling you in general, Norris. Don't make any assumptions. Get to the bottom of this thing and fall on your sword and say, hey, maybe it was me. I'm just curious. What was it that caused you to change from X to Y? That's all I'm suggesting to you. And just pull back a bit so you don't, because I feel like a bit of tension and defensiveness about, hey, I can't work with you if you're not going to do this kind of thing. So it's upsetting that you were set on this trail to move forward. At the end, she pulled back on you. That feels not right? Because she set you on a certain track.
And she basically said, Norris, I trust you, but I don't really trust you with all my money.
I know, and that's why you feel slighted. And that's why you feel a bit defensive about it. Because it doesn't feel right to be. That's why I'm so curious to understand what happened. Anyways, all I'm suggesting you is give us some space, give it about a week, give her a call, and get the truth.
Okay.
All right, my friend. I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, Norris. All right. We are back for the Stump The Guru show. You can see these scenarios are quite complex, and they're quite deep, and it's easy to react to scenarios without having the perspective on it. But I think that the idea here is to get the truth behind every situation like this to find out what the obstacle was. We're off to our next person. Who do we have today, Steve?
All righty. Next, we're going to bring Kerry on. He's been here before. Hasn't been on in a bit. Kerry, how you doing, my friend? You can let everybody know about you and your question for Ari.
Thanks for that, Steve. I appreciate that. And Ari, thanks for having me on the show. So I run a nonprofit organization. We talk to a lot of people, and I had an interesting conversation the other day that I'd like your input on.
Sure.
As I was going down the iceberg, exploring the different problems that the person has, what was interesting was when they would say they had a problem, they would describe it, and then I would begin to talk about the problem, they would immediately interrupt me and say, well, no, that's not what I said.
Wow.
And I was being very careful to listen carefully, and I even began to say, okay, just to confirm what you said, it was this. They would agree with me. And then as I would begin to discuss the problem, they would say, well, no, it's not really that way. And ironically, because it was really catching me off guard, so I slowed down, took your advice in lowering my voice, slowed my pace of talking, and it happened almost with every single problem that they expressed that they had, and then they would deny it. No, that's not what I said. That's not what I meant.
All right. So Kerry, whenever you are in a situation like that, and your instinct has you feel resistance or defensiveness, the first moment you felt that is the moment you have to stop everything. Stop the trains. Don't keep going. And address it this way. You know, Dave, I get the sense that you're a bit defensive, or we're not connecting here around trying to unpack and understand more of your situation. And I'm just curious, what is it that I'm not aware of that you don't feel comfortable sharing with me about your situation? I feel like there's something here that's just not out in the open. Or if it's not in the open, is there something else I'm missing around your situation that I can better understand about what you're trying to solve today? If you wouldn't mind, would you be open to sharing some of that?
I love it.
What I'm trying to say is I'm using your languaging here to de-escalate the tension the moment you hear it and feel it, rather than bypass it and hear it again and again and again until it's too late. And because your job as the doctor is to basically help the patient see their own problem. And if you feel resistance in that way, you have to neutralize it immediately by addressing it at the moment rather than later. And using language like that, you don't want to make them feel bad. They got to feel good about telling you the truth. But when you sense defensiveness or any resistance, stop everything and lower your voice with bedside manner and say, you know, I'm just curious. I get the sense that da-da-da. All right, Kerry?
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Ari. I appreciate it as always.
Thank you so much. Good to see you again.
All
right. Back at the Stump The Guru show, and we're having some interesting conversations today. Very deep scenarios that are emotionally laden, as you can see, which requires delicate languaging, a delicate thought process, and with respect to the other people to help them feel comfortable, and in both cases here, telling you the truth. And that's the goal of our model. Our process is to get to the truth, not the sale. When you get that in your mind, that thinking, that changes all your behavior, all your languaging, and all your processes for them to trust you more effectively, because they can see you don't have a hidden agenda. All right? Anyone else out there, Steve?
Yes, I'm going to bring on Jerry, who hasn't been on in a while, but I'd like to welcome Jerry on. His camera should be clicking on any second now. He's coming.
All right.
Come on, Jerry. I know you can do it, buddy.
It says it's on.
That's really odd. Yeah, we're not quite seeing
flip
you.
it off and on. I'm going to bounce and let you flip it off and on to see if that resolves.
But you know what? Let's take Jerry real quick without the camera. We'll get the audio for now, okay, Steve? Oh, there you are, Jerry. Jerry, why don't you walk us through your question real quick, all right?
Sure. Ari, I'm in the property casualty business. I own an agency with a major insurance carrier in the U.S. And I've been doing this a while now, about 50 years.
Sure.
And I've had to change our approaches over the years. And since COVID, and since I met you and we re-engaged in some of the information about the iceberg, I've tried to implement that. And we have a lead generation system. And so when we call, they're expecting our call. And here's what I've taught them to say. If it's okay with you, I'd like to ask you a question. Is that okay? And then usually the customer will say, yeah, okay. What has you shopping for insurance today? And usually when we do that, it's sort of like pricking a balloon. It's just a whole bunch of stuff starts flowing out. But I'm wondering, can you improve on that?
Yeah, see, what we have to ensure in advance is that they're comfortable revealing you the truth behind what their intentions are.
Uh-huh.
And rather than saying, may I ask you a question? I would slightly adjust that to, would you be open to share with me a little bit about your situation? What specifically led you to looking for some insurance help? And then we can take it from there. Would you be okay with that?
Oh, that's much better. That really is better, Ari.
It's more gentle. It has some love in it, some warmth. They can feel comfortable relaxing with you. When you say, can I ask you some questions, it feels like a cross-examination on a witness stand.
Right.
So the tonality, the languaging is the magic sauce that we developed here. And as you can see in this scenario, and it's so easy for us to not even be aware of it. We just say the words and we expect an answer, but the answer, unfortunately, will not be 100% truthful because they won't trust you enough to be vulnerable with you to tell you that truth. So hopefully it helps you, Jerry.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry about the camera. I don't know what's up
No
with
problem.
that.
We'll get you next time.
Thank you.
All right, Steve, we got about 5 minutes left. Anyone else left out there?
Yeah, and Norris made a good comment in the private chat that it could be that the slide was left on the camera. I know I'm guilty of leaving the cap on at times, my first calls, but we've got Sam here still. Sam's around, so I'm going to bring Sam on.
Sure.
And Sam has a camera. His camera is operational here. Not that Jerry's isn't, but it's a human. So we'll end gracefully with faces. All right, Sam. Right. You know the drill, Sam. I don't have to tell you.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Ari. Ari, just along the lines of I'm a business coach, and one of the things that you started the podcast here with was brilliant about this relationship building. Quick question: how do you handle the situation where someone sort of almost insists on building a relationship? They're not in our world. They know that relationships is not something that we do, but they do want to get to know you a little bit on the phone call. So they might start the call and they might just take control of it. And I know that you've said that that's, we got to take control of it, but they might just jump in and say, so Ari, tell me a little bit about you and tell me a little bit about, I want to get to know you a bit more. And they're quite insistent upon that. How do you handle it?
That's okay. That'll happen. It happens a lot to me sometimes too. It's normal. So here's what you don't want to do. start talking and talking and talking and talking, and now it's all about you. Here's what you do instead. You summarize what you do in a very clear, concise way that describes the problems that you help your clients solve. So when the guy says to you, so Sam, tell me about you. Tell me what you do, Sam. Here's what you're going to say. No problem, Mike. Happy to share with you more about myself. Sure. Basically, to summarize, I'm a specialist and a business coach, and I help business owners who are doing at least $1 million a year in revenue solve the problem of crossing the $5 million mark by addressing basically 3 core issues: 1, 2, and 3. That's all I do. Now, tell me about you, John, about your background and what you do and your story and what you're here today. So I just condensed, quote, the sales pitch that we're taught to do, you know, like the 30-second infomercial or the elevator's pitch, from all about you to all about the problems that you solve for your clients. That's how you reposition it. And then they kind of stop talking. They go, oh, I get it. And the ball's in their court again.
Right. Okay. So what you're saying is don't resist it and shut it down.
No.
Give them a little bit, summarize it into the problem statement, and then put it back to them.
Yeah, you never will need to feel shut down, and we don't have to shut them down. We just have to give them what they really are trying to say, but aren't saying it the way they should be saying it. What they're really trying to say is, Sam, what problems can you solve that you can help me with? But they're not saying it that way. They're saying, tell me about you. And they just don't know how to say it. That's why you're the doctor and they're the patient.
Yeah. No, that's great, Ari, because some people are a bit conditioned. Yeah, they're friendly. They feel like that's the norm. That's what they've been used to every other phone call.
That's fine. You can be friendly too. Just don't continue off the ski trail on some other track. That's all.
Yeah. All right.
Sam.
That's great. Perfect, Ari. Thank you very much.
Good to see you again. Take care.
You too.
All right. So that's our Stump The Guru show for today. We had quite a gauntlet of different scenarios, questions. Hopefully you got some lessons from today. I think the general theme today is that there is depth to the sales conversation. And most people only live above the iceberg at the surface level. They don't know how to go below the iceberg. They don't have the languaging, the nuance, and the art behind this. And that's what we have mastered over the last 25 years. So if this intrigues you or interests you, at least come to unlockthegame.com or arigalper.com and get my latest book, Trust in a Split Second, and have a chat with us about it. And let's see if we can unpack and zero in and figure out what the hole is in your process and help you from there. And we'll say goodbye for now, and we'll see you next time.
I've come up with a way to totally eradicate this whole idea of rejection in sales. If it's over at hello, how the heck are you going to succeed in selling? You've got to rise above that and change your mindset.